Rebirth of a giant ship. How did Chinese businessmen spend $20 million to bring back the Varyag aircraft carrier? On March 19, 1998, the auction house in Kyiv, Ukraine, was bustling with people. There were representatives from the capitalist powerhouses, the United States, the United Kingdom, and Japan, as well as representatives from the developing countries China and India. Everyone has only one goal for this trip, and that is to purchase the Varyag aircraft carrier. After an intense competition, Chinese businessman Xu Zengping bought the Varyag for $20 million. After the auction, Xu Zengping promised that the aircraft carrier would be purchased mainly for entertainment, and he hoped to take company employees on vacation at sea. Faced with this reasonable explanation, Western countries gave up their doubts and returned home one after another. However, what they did not expect was that after Xu Zengping returned to China, he immediately transferred the aircraft carrier to the Chinese government on the grounds that the company was bankrupt. Upon hearing the news, foreigners scolded Xu Zengping. He was a profiteer who pursued fame and fortune and broke his promises. But among the Chinese people, he is a great man who saved the country through many twists and turns. What on earth is this? Why is he called the biggest contributor to China's aircraft carrier? What hardships and obstacles did he experience on the way back to the aircraft carrier? In this video, let us learn more about it. During World War II, the British aircraft carrier Glorious showed its prowess. In the confrontation with the Italian Navy, the Glorious aircraft carrier remained unscathed. On the other hand, the Italian fleet was defeated and suffered a heavy price. Since then, the era of aircraft carriers has arrived, and countries around the world have joined the aircraft carrier race, including the United States, the Soviet Union, and Japan. The United States and Japan started early and have independently developed aircraft carriers since the end of World War II. The Soviet Union started late and had no technical support, so it could only cross the river by feeling the stones. After decades of hard work, the Soviet Union finally broke through many shackles and built three third-generation heavy aircraft carriers. One is the nuclear-powered aircraft carrier Ulyanovsk, and the other two are conventionally powered aircraft carriers, Kuznetsov and Varyag. But what is unexpected is that the Soviet Union finally announced its disintegration on December 5, 1991 due to too many problems in its later period. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, these three aircraft carriers were docked at the Black Sea shipyard. The construction of the Kuznetsov was basically completed and was driven away by the Russian Navy. The remaining Ulyanovsk and Varyag were not completed at that time and could only remain in the Black Sea ports. For the United States, nuclear-powered aircraft carriers are too dangerous. No matter who hands it ends up in, it will threaten U.S. maritime hegemony. So the United States implemented a small plan to dismantle the aircraft carrier to pieces, and finally had to sell it for scrap metal. As a result, Ukraine is left with only one Varyag with a completion rate of 68%. At that time, the Kyiv regime was determined to fully complete the subsequent construction, but had to give up because the amount was too large. After a period of consideration, the Kyiv regime finally decided to sell the semi-finished aircraft carrier. As soon as this news came out, it immediately attracted the attention of all countries. Among them is China. Although the Varyag is dilapidated, it has a high reference value and will help China shorten the construction time of its aircraft carrier. However, the Chinese government did not consider the aircraft carrier project at that time. It was thought that the Varyag would be handed over to another country, but at the critical moment, Ukraine made its own decision. At that time, the United States, Britain, Japan, South Korea and other countries all expressed their opinions on purchasing. The Kiev regime had an illusion. They thought the aircraft carrier in their hands was a treasure, so they raised the price. The extremely high price scared away many sellers, and the Varyag changed from a hot potato to a hot potato, with no one interested. In 1995, seeing that there was no hope of selling the Varyag at a high price, Kiev let it out and wanted to sell it for scrap metal. When the then deputy commander of the Chinese Navy, He Pengfei, the only son of Marshal He Long, learned of the news, he quickly contacted Chinese shipbuilding companies and suggested that they purchase it. After several years of searching, a Hong Kong boss appeared in He Pengfei's field of vision. He was the Xu Zengping mentioned at the beginning. Xu Zengping was born in Qingdao, Shandong in 1952. In 1969, Xu Zengping signed up to join the army when he just turned 18. With his excellent physical fitness, he was able to join the Chinese Navy as he wished. In 1983, Xu Zengping was honorably discharged after serving for 14 years and went to Hong Kong to work alone. At the time of reform and opening up, all walks of life were developing rapidly. With his hard-working spirit and down-to-earth and honest character, Xu Zengping quickly made great achievements. In 1991, Xu Zengping and several friends jointly founded Hong Kong Creative Law Group. Chuanglu Group's business scope is wide-ranging, involving agricultural product transportation, electronic equipment, international trade, etc. After several years of development and financing, Chuanglu Group's market value has doubled several times and it has become a well-known enterprise in Hong Kong. In 1997, when Hong Kong returned to China, Xu Zengping's sense of national belonging and patriotism became stronger. When his business was booming, Xu Zengping devoted himself wholeheartedly to public welfare undertakings. In 1998, he accidentally learned that General He Pengfei was looking for a businessman to buy an aircraft carrier. Soon he asked someone to find He Pengfei and said that he was willing to buy the Varyag in a private name. When the country needs it, he will donate it to the country without hesitation. Hearing these words, He Pengfei was happy. Xu Zengping fully understands the importance of the task. In order to avoid outside suspicion, he established Macau Chuanglu Tourism Company, Limited, and declared to the public that the purpose of purchasing the Varyag was mainly for entertainment. Subsequently, Xu Zengping mobilized elite personnel from various departments of the company to form a professional public relations team. In addition, Xu Zengping also asked his assistant to prepare 60 bottles of Chinese liquor. In his opinion, Ukrainians like strong liquor. Drinking can bring them closer together and make it easier to discuss purchase details. With everything ready, Xu Zengping immediately led his team onto the ocean-going ship. After arriving in Kiev, he first held a banquet and wine, and then invited the staff responsible for selling the aircraft carrier. That night, Xu Zengping had a good time with Kiev officials and drank very vigorously. After the meal, Kiev officials saw Xu Zengping's sincerity and directly promised to buy the Varyag to him for 18 million. As soon as he finished speaking, Xu Zengping added, "I am willing to spend another 2 million to purchase the aircraft carrier blueprints. This drawing is of no use to Ukraine. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is a pile of waste paper." Under this premise, Kiev officials agreed without hesitation. The next day, Xu Zengping came to the designated place and prepared for the transaction. However, Kyiv officials temporarily changed their story and said that all representatives from various countries had arrived in Kyiv. At the request of the US government, Kyiv changed the sale of the Varyag to a bidding method. Faced with such a situation, Xu Zengping, with anger, defeated all the national representatives at the auction. No matter how much other countries bid, Xu Zengping will raise the price. After 10 rounds of bidding, Xu Zengping got the ownership of the aircraft carrier as he wished. When the contract was delivered, Kyiv officials asked Xu Zengping to sign a clause stating that it would not be used for military purposes after purchase. Xu Zengping directly signed the contract, but secretly thought in his heart, in the face of national justice, both the contract and face can be discarded. After all the dust settled, Xu Zengping was ready to return to his country. At the critical moment, the Varyag aircraft carrier landed an American helicopter. The United States declared, according to reliable intelligence, Chinese businessmen have bad motives for purchasing aircraft carriers. Now they need to check whether the aircraft carriers can be repaired. In the face of gunfire, Xu Zengping had no choice but to compromise. After 6 hours of testing, American experts said that the power system had basically collapsed and there was no possibility of repair. After hearing the test results, the US military superiors decided to let him go. One wave after another, the US military had just been dealt with, and Turkey, a member of NATO, also came to make things difficult for Xu Zengping. In June 2000, due to the war in Iraq, the Varyag had to change its course and pass through the Bosporus. When the Varyag reached the Bosporus, the Turkish government refused to cross. The reason is that the Varyag's power system is defective, and if it is operated incorrectly, it will hit the Istanbul Bridge. In this way, the Varyag stayed at the Black Sea port for a year and a half. In the past year and a half, the Turkish government has been charging endless prices, not only charging parking fees and entrustment fees, but also insurance fees and tolls. Seeing that victory was imminent, Xu Zengping did not want to fall short, so he sold his property and paid the expenses. At the same time, the Chinese government acted quickly to set off a wave of international condemnation of Turkey, saying that Turkey's move is undoubtedly a bandit. As the incident continued to unfold, the Turkish government finally stated the Varyag can pass through Turkey, but it must be guaranteed by the country. At this critical moment, Greece, one of the 4 ancient countries, extended a helping hand and took the initiative to become a guarantor. After overcoming all difficulties and obstacles, the Varyag finally embarked on its journey back home. In March 2002, the Varyag arrived in Dalian, Liaoning province, and anchored in the inner harbor that day. Soon, Chinese scientific researchers carried out research with drawings and objects, and 10 years later developed China's first aircraft carrier, the Liaoning. This is not only a reward for past hard work, but also an improvement in the strategic strength of the Chinese Navy. The commissioning of the Liaoning marks that China has advanced aircraft carrier technology and has a stronger deterrent force at sea. In general, the return journey of the Varyag is a microcosm of China's modernization process and the fruit of the joint efforts of the country and individuals. This story inspires us to have unlimited expectations for national strength, and at the same time, it also makes us better understand that on the world stage, if a country wants to rise, it must make persistence, wisdom, and hard work. Now, whenever we talk about the history of Chinese aircraft carriers, the name Xu Zengping is indispensable. It is precisely because of his selflessness and persistence that China's aircraft carrier career can break through the cage. According to statistics, the total tonnage of Chinese naval warships currently reaches 2.8 million tons, ranking second in the world. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel for more great content. See you next time.